5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to the Rideshare Zone, where every ride matters. And now, here is your host, Shawn, the Colorado Rideshare Guy.
Welcome in, everyone. We're at episode number 22 of the Rideshare Zone, and I appreciate y'all coming in. And so, Steve, by the way, I did start at 6 o'clock, Mr. Critique Critic. I might have made it to the wire, but I still started right on time, or 8 p.m. Eastern time, depending on where you're all at. But anyway, welcome in, everybody. We got a whole bunch of people in the chat. Let's say hi to real quick. We'll even say hi to Rideshare Rodeo Steve. What's up, brother? Traveler, Bubba Sue, Awesome Amy, Twin Pines Studio, and all the rest of you lurkers that we've got. Toyo's in also. But all the rest of you, welcome in. And let's get started with this because it's, if you notice, got some changes going on back here. And I've had a hell of a week. Some of you have seen the video, and probably some people making sure to tune into it just to hear the whole story and then see the whole video. So it was really one of those almost, I don't want to call it perfect storm, but worst case scenario things with the passenger, and it was all started because she didn't have a car seat. And then it went from there and there and there, and you guys got to see about 55 seconds of it. But I took in the part that's on video, and I'll explain why some of it's not on video in a minute. And I want to kind of dissect this, go through it, because there's some things I could have done better. I think there's some things people give me feedback to say that I'm surprised you're able to, handle things the way you did. I think when you see the whole video, some people might correct themselves, because where it was on that short that I did, it came in with only about I'd already been a few minutes into it. So, and at that point I was already trying to get a hold of 911 and everything. So this is going to be a real interesting one, guys. Love your comments, feedback, questions about it. And we're just going to jump into what I now refer to as the F-bomb lady video. This is not redacted. There's not a bunch of beeps in there. There's some silent pauses where I'm giving my phone number and then some description about my vehicle and stuff like that. Other than that, this is raw, guys. Her mouth makes me look like a good little church boy. So just be forewarned. So if you don't want to hear a bunch of bad language, tune out for a few minutes here. And here we go. How you doing?
Good. Come on.
That one needs a car seat. You got a car seat for him?
No.
Sorry, can't take him. Here, pull your stuff out. I can't take him without a car seat. Okay, that ain't my. Get your stuff out of my car, please.
I'm not doing shit. If you talk about this on and on, let's fuck up. She just paid this place, let's come over. You gotta go with the pay. With the pay.
So at this point, I'm trying to figure out the good old Lyft safety button, because it was doing all kinds of weird stuff. So I had to kind of trying to deal with her. And at this point, I said, I'm not having this. This is what's going through my head. And so I'm now on the point trying to get a hold of the Lyft safety team / call 911, and we'll go a little bit longer here, and then I'll pause it again.
I don't have a car seat.
That one cannot come.
Why not?
Because I said so, because it's the law. It is the law.
I paid $27 for this ride. I paid $27 for this ride to take us to Greyhound. 27. And my bus leave at 2:20. I would put him in a seatbelt. I can't.
So at that point you heard her say, "Oh, I was going to put him in a seatbelt. I paid $27 for the Greyhound." Blah blah blah. And you heard there was also a second person who was in the background. So now we had a second person decide she wants to get involved in this mess too. Apparently, it was her daughter. According to you'll hear some of the stuff going on. It's a funny little way I paused this on here, but. So Steve, just so you know, with Lyft, when you do the Lyft safety thing, it also ADT is supposed to be calling 911 on your behalf at the same time. Well, it wasn't working. It was doing all kinds of stupid crap. So at probably around this point, maybe a little bit longer, I just disconnected from trying to do this ADT Lyft crap and end up just calling 911 on my cell phone myself. Right, Steve. Now I will tell you, I've had experiences with ADT that they're actually usually very professional and everything. You'll hear some of this. This one didn't go as well as when I had to use them with Uber. So anyway, so this whole thing just keeps continuing to escalate. By this point, you can see her stuff is still in my car, but she's not in my car yet. Well, that's about to change.
They don't do refunds, and Dad gonna give me my money back.
Get out of my car! Get out of my car!
No!
Get out of my car!
No, you won't give me my fucking money back! Come on with the money right now, bitch! Come on! Give me my money! Bitch! Come on, Mom! Come on right now! Or they gonna get in this car! Come on, Mom! Bitch, you gonna stand right
What's wrong with you? Get out of my car!
Give me my money back!
I'm my contractor!
Oh, well, Dad, you better call your motherfucking company! You better...
She wants me to call my company. I didn't know I owned Lyft. Believe me, if I owned Lyft, people like her would not be on my platform. And this is a good point and time to pause here with all this and say, Lyft, why do you let people like this on the platform? Now, let me step back a little bit on this one. I was apprehensive to take this ride to begin with because the name, I don't remember what it is now at the moment. It was an alias and it was an account that was 4 days old. And so this one already had my spidey senses tingling, but I also knew the area really well. It was like, this is a decent area. So, and there's sometimes some older people that are in there. They do have new accounts, and things like that. So I was reluctant, but I don't know. At this point, I should have done something different than what I was doing already. So let's take a look in the chat here and see what we got on there. And so Steve's not a big fan of ADT, obviously. Don't know what your experiences were with them, but you'll see and hear some of this and some of the frustration from me with it. Oh, no, you don't, because actually I didn't talk to them till later. And and that's none of that's recorded, but yeah, they did a really bad job with it. And so let's see here. So bear mace now, then go around and taser her 11 times. Well, Steve, what you didn't see in the background is I told you there was another voice. There were two other angry females, we'll call them, that were on scene, we'll call it, and they were ready to jump in. Every once in a while, they were mouthing off. You can't hear them on the audio from my dash cam because they were at the stairwell at this apartment complex and just throwing in their 2 cents of trying to intimidate me and blah blah blah. And you hear this lady's telling me, screaming at me, telling me I got to give her money back. And of course, I'm like, not my company. And So then the other occupant in there, she's screaming the same stuff that you guys can't hear. Give my mama her money back. You effing thief and this and that. And again, I'm a contractor. If I owned Lyft, you wouldn't have been riding. So anyway, let's keep going here.
Call your company?
Okay, I am.
I paid $27 to get to Greyhound. I don't give a fuck about you calling on.
Oh, actually, I'm going to step this back just a little bit because she's obviously looking at my phone and seeing I'm not calling Lyft at this point.
I don't give a fuck about you calling on 911.
Good.
Glad you don't, because that's what I was doing.
Because
I don't give a fuck. Give me my phone.
You dumb white cracker ass bitch. You gotta give the money back up, bitch.
What's wrong with him?
You calling the cops, bitch. They're not gonna.
Yeah, I am calling 911.
I don't give a fuck.
Shit, bitch.
I don't give a.
And she is right. She didn't give 2 Fs. I mean, you can see she was settled in and ready for the, ready to go the distance on this. So anyway, we'll just keep going with this, and then I'll explain something else in a little bit.
Talk about who you go.
Bitch, come on with that money. I'm not.
Get out of my car. Get out of my car.
I'm not. I am not.
Get out.
So at this point, I have called 911, but Colorado Springs is screwing around with AI, and then you get this, and at some point you'll hear it. Eventually, it'll say something to the effect, if you don't have an emergency, press 1. Well, why would I be calling 911 if I didn't have an emergency? That this isn't the place for them to sit there and stall me with an audio recording. I mean, could you imagine? I think Amy's making a comment here saying, if it was much worse and, dependent on, ADT, well, 911 was a little bit slow on the trigger with this too. So, anyway, we'll keep going here.
Get out of my car.
Okay.
Your call will be answered by the next available emergency operator.
Get out of my car.
Okay,
car.
Then refund the money.
I don't do that.
But you're not finna take my motherfucking money. You got me fucked up, nigga.
Get out of my car.
He tried to take my money because I really got no car
Get out of
seat.
my car. Hello?
Everybody else has been in this bitch without a car seat. He's not finna steal my money.
I don't have the exact address, but I'm on. Lady that won't get out of my car. She's trespassing in my car. I'm an Uber
No, I'm
driver.
not trespassing. He's
she's
trying to steal my
yelling,
money. He's trying to steal my
Ma'am,
money.
please. She will not get out of my car.
I'm
I feel I'm
you
in
gotta give me my
danger.
money.
I can't. Yeah.
One moment, I need to confirm your location.
Shit, I don't give a fuck about none of that.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, what's the phone number you're calling from?
So at this point, because since I couldn't get back to Lyft ride to see what was going on, because I was on with 911, so I didn't want to end up dropping them now that I finally got a hold of them. So right now we're trying to figure out exactly where I am, and I think, and it might have been inaudible, at one point I told her ping my phone, and they did do that, and so they ultimately were able to. And what I mean by ping the phone is that they can actually look at your geolocation. Now the problem is, it's just like with Uber and Lyft maps, sometimes it can be a bit of a shit show with GPS drift, particularly in apartment complexes and places with a lot of buildings nearby. So that same problem when you hit that, pick me up at my location, or a driver, you have to go to a location like this passenger's not here. There, you can see them on the map way away from you. That's what the cause of this is. So we're doing enough. I could see the numbers of another building across the way. So we're trying to do that. She did dispatch. She dispatched it already, and did have it as soon as she was able to confirm my address. She was sending them en route already, but just for them to be able to get there. So.
Motherfucking person, man. You talking about you at me? Calling the company, you want to call them?
I'm in a black car.
What is your first and last name?
Shawn, and I won't give you my last name until later because I don't want to compromise my safety already any more than I have with this person.
Okay, so tell me exactly what happened, Shawn.
I I paid $27 for a ride to go to the bus, to the Greyhound.
Her name must be Shawn too, because so the dispatcher asked me, please tell me what happened. And so this nice lady here decides she was going to speak on my behalf.
Me and my son is too, and he's trying to steal my money. That's what happened. He's trying to steal my money. I don't give a fuck about none of that.
All right, so at this point, Shawn finally got a brain and got the hell out of his car. I shouldn't have... Damn it. Hold on. Anyway, I finally got a brain. Should have got out of my car, guys. That's on me. I should have got out of the car a long time ago. Steve said I should have got out of there to bear macer, but it got to a point, it wasn't getting de-escalated. She wasn't listening. I should have done that part should have walked away a long time ago. So I shut off my car. Obviously took my keys with me. I walked about 50 yards, about 40, we'll just say 50 yards, doesn't matter, from her. I walked a pretty good distance, but I could still see my vehicle and still see her and the other people. And it was in a place that if the cops did come into the complex, this was one of those one way in, one way out complexes that they should have been able to see me, even, and I was also at the very back of it. But they would have still been able to see me, and so I was able to, and I was also, if I needed to be able to get the hell out of there if, things continue to get worse. One thing I did do, I'm talking dispatch, telling this, tell them what happened, what's going on with it, and this and that, and she's trying to get, more description information. She does have multiple officers en route at this point in time, and lucky for me, I know anybody listening to this in Colorado Springs is going to go, you got Colorado Springs Police Department to show up for something. They do have a really the opinion that unless somebody gets dead, they're not going to show up to something. I understand that public opinion to a large degree, particularly if it's involving property crime. They aren't going to show up. Vehicle accidents, if nobody's injured, they're pretty much on accident alert 24/7. But when it comes to things that are potentially violent and situations like this, they are going to respond. Some people say they haven't. I proved they did show up. So at that point, I finally got out of my car. Now, I don't have my dash cam hardwired. I did that for two reasons, because I don't need to deal with parasitic draw on my vehicle and this and that, and I don't need the Sentry mode constantly going off so I've never hardwired my dash cam, but had I had my dash cam hardwired, it still would have captured everything going on inside the vehicle while I wasn't there. So that's probably something that I need to make an improvement on from that standpoint as well. So again, that's why I really want to share this experience with you guys. Not for views. I mean, the views are nice because it continues to raise the awareness to the lack of safety initiatives with Uber and Lyft. I did follow up with Lyft, and if I said this is an Uber ride, forgive me, but this was a Lyft ride, and when I talked to a Lyft safety team later on, number one, the first time, I couldn't understand this person. And I just flat told her, I said, I had a very critical incident and I need to speak to somebody that I can understand. And she's like, well, did you have an incident or something that you would like to report? It's like, that's my freaking example right there. And then at that point, I was like, you need to give me somebody else. And I got somebody else, and then I came in and I actually started recording the call. I don't know if I'll share it, but because some of it I was just so mad and sarcastic about it, it wasn't probably one of my finer point times, but it was so frustrating. I mean, the next guy, I couldn't tell what the hell his name was, but I told him, I said, look, this call's being recorded for quality assurance purposes and maybe used for training purposes. So, and he said, okay. So I got his consent to use this for training purposes. So we might have a training day sometime. I don't know, guys. But again, this is just, we've got to start raising awareness to how broken this is and how little these apps care about the drivers, whether you're a delivery worker or a driver. This lady, I guarantee, because she knew that she wasn't going to get refunded by Lyft. Okay, so, and she was insistent that I cancel the ride and a whole bunch of other things. She knew how rideshare works and she knew how this whole game worked. So, guarantee she was either kicked off of Uber or kicked off a Lyft and got another account. And that's a huge problem that Uber and Lyft both have, is they'll let, even if a passenger gets kicked off, they will let them get another account. And how do I know that? Because those of you that know, the whole thing that kind of got me started with this was a deactivation I had with Lyft. Well, the person that filed the false report on me, she had a very unique name. And I was assured by Lyft that she was deactivated too, by the way. And I have that in writing from them. Well, I got a ride a couple weeks ago, a ride request that I picked up, and then I saw the name and I saw the picture and I'm like, hell no. So they're still using rideshare. So this is something, Jenny Wilford, you push real hard to get your rideshare safety bill passed, but what did it do to make that situation better and make me safer? It didn't do a damn thing. They don't do any rider verifications, none of that stuff. It's all just one big freaking mess. So anyway, I don't know what you all thought about that or thought about the whole experience, but that's about what I got on that. Let me look over here on the chat and we'll see what everybody had to say with it. Because some reason I was... So Amy says she would have got out of the car, ripped that bonnet off, and pull her hair out and knocked her 2 clowns out of the way. There was three clowns out of the way. But who's counting? But yeah, there were 4 of them. And Steve says he had a bear maced all 3, throw them back in the car, and take them to the New Mexico desert. Hell, let's see here. What else do we have? I think, yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one, Steve. Her decibel level is so high, it's like horrible sound mix. Yeah, dude, I tried to work with the audio on it, and the audio is not real. It is an older dash cam. I probably need to get a new one some point, but so the audio is a little muffled to begin with. But hers, man, she was peaking so bad that couldn't do anything to improve the audio with it. So, but I think it also illustrates the point with it. And dispatcher, she couldn't hear crap, and so I was frustrated. Again, like I said, I should have got out of the car a lot sooner. And what I started talking about, but I didn't, was how I actually finally got her out of my car before the cops showed up. Was I kept hitting the panic alarm on my car, and locking and unlocking the doors, and he kept repeatedly hitting the panic alarm over and over and over. And then eventually some neighbors started coming out, and so she got embarrassed instead of trying to embarrass me. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there, doop doop boop, beep 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 beep, and then whenever it stopped, I go through the whole cycle again. And so she did finally get her and her crap out of my car. And so when she was turned around pulling a bunch of this stuff together, that I kind of quickly snuck in, got in my car, and took off real quick. and was able to get out of there. And then I met the cops up at the front of the property where, it was, I was out of sight for her, and it was Steve. And she, but yeah, it wasn't going to go anywhere. The cops caught up with her. I had a really good conversation with the field training officer, and he sent the other guys to go over there to go have a conversation with her. And I could tell they really didn't want to do anything pressing charges wise. I said, look, man, I just want to make sure she's on a list and that, she doesn't come back, and you guys do a report on it in case if she tries to come back and come after me over some false crap. But she knew it was, you saw she was looking at the dash cam multiple times. She was looking at my phone. She knew the cops, but she just didn't care. So why do we let people like that on there? She had an alias, but we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but even real ID doesn't work well with Uber and Lyft, and we'll talk about that from the driver's side with stuff. So anyway, legislators, yeah, I could have got dead, but you wouldn't give a damn. Somebody else could get dead even after her behavior, and you don't give a damn. Uber, Lyft, we already know you don't. It's profits over people. That's your motto. That's what you guys are trying to do. So, Traveler, you got a comment in here, and I'll have to look at everybody else's, but that initially is what crossed my mind whenever I first thought about getting out of my vehicle. And it got to a point that because it wasn't changing anything, and it was probably going to get worse, and I didn't need to go to jail. So that was why I was like, you know what? I'll deal with Lyft. I am well insured. I just, whatever was going to happen at that point was going to happen. And I knew the cops were pretty close by at that point anyway. So, but yeah, that did cross my mind. And I think that's a big reason people won't leave their vehicle, because they're worried about their, vehicle getting damaged. So Bubba Sue asked, how long till the cops came? Well, it always feels like forever, but it was only a couple minutes after, I'd say 3 to 4, if I'm going to be honest with myself, probably maybe not even that long. But the time of day that it happened, it was really convenient for 2 reasons. Number one, the cop shop was down only a couple miles away, and it was shift change time. So there were cops en route to go to the station to go home. And actually, when I talked to the FTO, he was like, yeah, I said, yep, I got shift change. He laughed. He said, yeah, that's exactly. He says, that's why, he said we were responding regardless, and we would have responded. But he said, yeah, you got a much bigger response because of shift change. So she wasn't getting out of that complex with all the cops that showed up. So anyway, let's see, what else do we have in the chat here with it? And I hope I described enough of this well enough and everybody on the podcast portion of it heard it. But I'm going to take that entire video and I'm going to drop it over on my Patreon for members. So if you're not a member of my Patreon and you want to see that video again or whatever, or if you want to see me look like an idiot because I let her listen to her yelling for too damn long, go over there. I'd like y'all to join my Patreon anyway, but podcast people, go over to CO Ride Guy on Patreon, and you can find me there. Join it. The membership's free for right now, and you guys can check it out there that didn't get a chance to, but I think I did a pretty good job describing it, and everything else. Just hear her screaming and yelling and cussing a whole lot. So Steve said you should have told her you don't speak well and could speak up. Thanks, Steve. That was really a good de-escalation tactic. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. So Cops had a long conversation with her. They ran her. She didn't have any warrants, and they finished up just wasting a whole bunch of her time. And I think a lot of it was because they knew she had a Greyhound bus she had to go catch, and so I'm sure she probably, they wasted her time. She wasted their time and my time, so I think they made sure that they thoroughly investigated everything that was going on, and she probably didn't get cut loose anytime soon with all of that. But I think, honestly, that's probably the best course with it. Look, man, this lady's behavior is, it wasn't aggravated assault, though. At one point, she was slinging that stupid bottle, and some of it hit me. I don't know if you saw me flinch in part of it, because I was like, "What the hell was that?" And I look up in the mirror, and saw that she had that. She thought she was the Pope trying to frickin' hit me with holy water or some crap. I don't know, but. I'm not Catholic, nor do I play one on television, so I don't know. Do you use one of those sippy cups for that? But anyway, she doesn't look hard to catch up with. Yeah, that's probably very true, Steve. And she had 10 bags. And by the way, when I was sneaking into my car, they were coming downstairs with a car seat, lo and freaking behold. So her lazy ass had a car seat. She just didn't want to use a car seat. Kid was freaking 2 years old. It says, "Oh, I'll put him on my lap. I'll put him in a seatbelt." No, put him in a damn car seat. And so I know the cops were really mad about that one. So I'm sure they spent plenty of time lecturing her on that one with it. So wasn't worth getting hurt over. Worse, leave the car. It can be replaced. Yeah, absolutely, Amy. I mean, that's as hard as it is. Delivery rideshare girl, welcome in. Steve, Steve's gonna get put in timeout, man. Anyway, I appreciate you keeping it fun in there. Travel baptism. So, anywho, Sartek Canine Handler, welcome in. We still got people coming in. If y'all missed it, again, you either go watch the whole video on my Patreon, or you can do a replay here on YouTube. And so that's that was it. Said, anybody see anything else that I probably could have done better? I know there's a million different things that I should have and could have done better with it. I sure wasn't going to leave my vehicle running. I knew once I shut it off that the dash cam was going to shut off. And again, that was, I don't know. I'm still kind of torn on that one. And so anyway, she had a Greyhound to catch. Yeah, she literally did, Steve. And well, I think that Greyhound was going to outrun her, but anyway. All right, guys. So that's that. What does everybody think of the new set background versus my old one? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Throw some comments in there as I get my act together and move on to our next little segment here. We can't escape these gas price things that's been going on. We've heard all the scams by Uber and Lyft, and we're going to give you, we're going to help you save more money and this and that. And well, there's a federal class action that was filed on Monday, accusing gas stations of violating the California antitrust law through a company called Kalibrate with a K, Kalibrate, if you want to find out more about this company. But they're a fuel pricing software company that is global, not just in the US, they're all over the world, and they help fuel retailers, to be able to maximize profits, okay? And so, and this is like Circle K, Walmart, 7-Eleven, a lot of the 7-Elevens, BP, and they all use this Kalibrate software. So we're not talking, just some small regional gas stations. We're talking about nationwide gas retailers. They're doing this. And so the lawsuit in there, and specifically cites that Kalibrate promises that if gas stations surrender their pricing decisions and competitively sensitive cost, I must type something out wrong here, but anyway, if you surrender your gas pricing to Kalibrate, even if you think you need to be higher, they promise you that they will ultimately, over the course, again, because they're using AI, they'll manipulate it and get the consumer to pay more for the gas than they already do. I mean, another thing, I think Circle K, because if I use Circle K fuel, I lose about 2 to 3 miles per gallon on the average with a tank of fuel. So I think they're pumping a whole lot more freaking ethanol in there than they're supposed to. But now the Congress passed where you can have up to 15% ethanol in the gas all year round, so it doesn't matter. So engines are going to continue to deplete quicker, but that's a whole different side piece of it. But yeah, they're all colluding together. I know none of you are shocked, and causing us to pay a lot more for fuel. So there you go. And I think that would explain a whole lot of things, like with Circle K, is where you have a Circle K down one block down, and it's literally 15 cents higher than the other one. So they're using those other stores to push traffic and push people to another store, is probably what they're doing with this, and they're using that with it too. So anyway, never going to get away from these fuel problems. We saw fuel prices go down. They're still lower than they have been, but you notice they're creeping back up again. I'm sure they're going to blame the 4th of July for that, because everybody's out driving around right now and taking their road trips like we did 20 years ago. I mean, I don't know what excuses they use anymore for the summer fuel price hikes and everything, but they now I think they just do it and just say, yeah, that's what it is. So whatever. So let's see here. What do we got going on in the chat? More from Steve. Anyway. All right. So now let's move over to Illinois while we're kind of taking a tour across the country here with stories. But there was a situation in Madison, Illinois, where an employee at an Amazon facility was shot and killed. Now, you might think that was workplace violence, some blah, blah, blah. No, he was shot and killed by a food delivery driver. So either DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub or something like that. So apparently, from the officers, they arrived on scene, saw an employee with multiple gunshot wounds, and so he was taken to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Apparently, they didn't have the capabilities to do that with Amazon Prime or whatever. Anyway, sorry, that was insensitive. According to witnesses and then the surveillance footage that they reviewed, that the victim and another person got into an argument with the food delivery worker. But apparently, whoever the other person was that got into the argument, they must have retreated or whatever before before the dude pulls out his gun and shoots this other guy multiple times. They said that that there were 3 to 4 shots that were fired. They have the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force are working to identify the subject. Apparently, they couldn't figure who had a DoorDash order that didn't get fulfilled or something, and they couldn't track them down and figure this out. But anyway, they believe that they're close to making an arrest in the case, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, going postal isn't just for the post office anymore. Apparently, disgruntled delivery, and maybe they were trying to. It said they were food delivery, so it wasn't a contract Amazon worker. But all right, let's see here. WTI crude got down to $70 a barrel today. Right, Steve. When's the last time we saw it? We've seen it at $70, and when it was at $70, how much was gas? That was when we were just hitting barely over $2 a gallon. I'll bet you, if we looked at it historically. But now we're still, and this is in Colorado speaking, and specifically down in Colorado Springs, because it's typically a little more even in Denver than it is down here. So let's see here. So they're still using the old gas at the high prices before they use the cheaper gas. Oh yeah, that's yeah. They got to burn up their winter gas before we get to that. And yeah, I mean, it takes, I don't know what the numbers is now, but it was unless you lived in a refinery state or had a refinery nearby, it was still only a few weeks from the time that it got pulled out of the ground and then went to the refinery and then went on the truck and then got to the gas station. And in Colorado, when we used to have plenty of refineries in Commerce City, that it was only a couple days. And but let's see. Steve says he got gas for $3 a gallon in Denver yesterday. I paid a little bit over that a couple days ago, but then it was already back up another quarter today, I noticed when I was driving by. So Bubba Sue says we're down to $3.64. So we are finally starting to see a little fuel relief, guys. So I guess we should celebrate that. But imagine how much better we could be if they weren't using freaking AI to manipulate the pricing on it. But Colorado would have had some insulation against that had Governor Polis not vetoed the AI bill, we'll call it, the surveillance pricing as they referred to it. So Bubba Sue says she lives by a refinery and it's still expensive here in New Jersey. Yep. Traveler says we just broke $4. So again, starting to come down, and but we still got a long way to go with it. All right. Well, we're still in Illinois, so talk about deactivated, and when I was on my rant about our special little F-bomb lady, that I talked about verification for riders. Well, specifically, Chicago is now they got a news station to go run with this, and some of these cases go back to 2022, where people have had to make legitimate changes in their accounts with Uber. Like, for example, we'll go all the way back to 2022, where this guy had to have his inspection done, and then they got flagged as they were that there was some contained altered dates on it. So I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, he was back 2022, and he's been trying to still get reactivated. I don't know why after that long. I mean, good for the guy and his tenacity. But and then they did finally acknowledge that, that was an error. But then when he tried to get his account going again, they told him, no, you're banned because of a deactivation under previous policies. So they're tap dancing around it. Anyways, so ABC 7 Chicago got involved. Then there was another guy before that, there was a gal that she had her driver's license updated because she got married. And so she changed everything to her married name. And well, she got deactivated for that. And Uber, Lyft was like, nah, don't care. Uber's like, don't care, you're deactivated. I wonder how many of these people also got deactivated on Lyft also with it. But this report doesn't talk about that. So maybe none, but I bet there were some too, because they do share information. Colorado, now they're required to share information. So any of these that we're talking about, if any of these errors that happened in Colorado, you'll now be getting banned from both platforms over some stupid error. Now, so we have the most recent one, Moises Butron. He's out of Chicago, and they deactivated his account after he submitted his new driver's license. And his new driver's license was a real ID, meaning the little gold star. And they said it was a fraudulent ID because his old ID had his middle name on it, but his new real ID doesn't have his middle initial or his middle name because the middle name isn't actually on his birth certificate. So they just won't even listen to reason. Now, some of these are pretty weird, but come on. These are the type of deactivations that happen, and people just, Uber, they don't care if their AI says it's bad, it's bad. It's got to be because AI said so. The AI doesn't make mistakes. Right, Uber? After you pissed away all of your AI budget in April, too much AI. You had to go on a diet, huh, Uber? I'm sucking in too much bad data and bad AI. So anyway, but all these people did get reactivated. They press really hard on Uber, so it'd be kind of interesting. But no drivers union, none of this other crap that everybody's trying to get to support, like Colorado's wonderful little CIDU that's supposed to be the Colorado Driver Support Organization. They still have people from last year that aren't reactivated, and it's over a similar technicality, by the way. It is and it's not. It was a real event, but it wasn't an event that was worthy of deactivation under their standards. So, and we're going to talk about this probably sooner than later. In fact, actually, I think I'm going to get a hold of CIDU and see if they want to come do an interview. If they don't want to come do an interview, the person that I keep making these little soft references to, he's dying to talk about it, so we'll have him come onto the show, and then we'll get in front of the media and the public and let CIDU and all these other supposed organizations that are helping drivers in Colorado let them have their day of judgment and explain themselves. I mean, I'd like them to come on and explain why they can't resolve cases that are pending from last year, and let alone something that's administratively really simple. All they need to do is have a conversation with Lyft. This individual's, begged me to get involved with it and everything. And well, the good thing he does get with the, Colorado Drivers Support is that he does get legal representation from an attorney. I told him I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on television. So the worst attorney is going to get more attention from Lyft than, some loudmouth like me. But that might be where we get with this. So deactivations keep happening. Thank you, AI. Thank you, stupid, Uber and Lyft that just don't care. And I really don't think they care because they're just looking to ramp up their autonomous vehicle platforms on there. So let's see here. Where are we at here in the chat? It says Oh boy, we're still stuck on bear mace. Steve, are you gonna have a training class and all that? Because that's what it sounds like you're trying to do here. I do not condone the carrying of weapons. I do not officially condone the carrying of weapons in your vehicle. It is against Uber and Lyft policies. But if you decide to do so, concealed weapons are concealed for a reason. So, let's see. Is my coupon code? Oh, geez. Yep, Steve, you're going to have to. Steve's going to get a sponsorship by one of these companies, I guess. Thought duct tape was a fix-all. Sounds like they need to get some bear mace because Steve says so. I don't know. I like duct tape because if I had duct tape, see, bear mace would have made her scream more. Duct tape would have softened the screams. Think about that one, y'all. So I still side with duct tape. I think duct tape is more superior. Oh, this show's never on track. It's not on track. Colin, shut up. All right, let's see here. Talk about that. Are we done leaving? Yeah, we're done. We're done in Illinois. And so Uber and Waymo in Phoenix had a partnership that where you could order a Waymo on the Uber app, and well, that's now being terminated. Both parties kind of go, oh, it was a short-term project, and we both learned from it, and yada yada yada. So whatever. But the interesting thing is, Steve, you ready for this? You know what they're going to be doing with these Waymos? Looks like the Waymos are going to be replacing the dots. I kid you not. Waymo is going to be using the Waymo vehicles. You think those other ones were expensive? Now we have a $100-some thousand Jaguar with a bunch of Tinker toys on top of it and around it that is going to be delivering your DoorDash. So now I can't wait to see how that works out. I mean, you can't get a restaurant employee to help you when you're a human standing there in front of them, and and don't have some guy that doesn't speak English to shove their phone in their face and get their attention. So, do you really think the Taco Bell employee is going to walk out to the parking lot, go put all this food into this Waymo, and then the Waymo goes trucking down the road and gets to its destination? Now you can't do the I want my social distancing. I don't want to be out around people that a lot of people still like to do. You can't just leave it at the door because the Waymo can't get out and leave it at your door. You got to come out and go to the curb, or if you're in an apartment complex, you may have to go who knows where. And now go get your food delivery out of there. So there you go. Making deliveries via DoorDash. They think they have problems with those things now. Wait till all the food gets spilled. Yeah. Who knows? That's what's going on in Phoenix, guys. Let's check the chat one more time, and then we got one more small thing. Let's see here. We're still talking? Yeah, see? That's when you pull out the taser. Oh my gosh. There's so much bad advice in the chat here tonight, guys. I mean, it's kind of amusing, but it's bad advice for the most part. Oh, now we're bringing in the pig farms with them. Holy crap. Am I going to start a crime podcast instead? Rideshare crime? The Rideshare Crime Zone? Something or another? You guys are all you're all demented people. How come? Because we know I'm not like that. Okay, maybe I'm just trying to be a little nicer than normal. All right, man. Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Says we should bring back, but make it 20 feet apart from each other. Yeah, I mean, I was always like, what do you mean 6 feet? I'm already social distancing, so that means keep it at least 12 feet then. So Steve says we're the good people. Okay. It's like have a class deliver you a hot dog for 20 miles. Hey, they'll do it now with the Waymos. And in a $100,000 Jag, you can get your $2 no tip order delivered to you. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, great. We're all a little messed up in the head. Yeah, exactly. The kids, and we'll play The Kids Ain't Right. That'll be my walk-on music. Sue says she loved in the past tense social distancing. All right, so last one for tonight. We didn't talk about Waymo too much today. We did just talk about that one a little bit, I gave him a break. There was some stuff that happened over the course of the last couple of weeks with Waymo just being stupid Waymo stuff, but that was probably the most interesting thing that was going on. Is now Waymo's going to be your DoorDash driver. So, food delivery drivers, Waymo's even taking your work away from you. So, now I mentioned about Joby and one of their biggest investors, and that have been kind of helping boost them along. Well, now they've announced that Joby and Toyota are getting into a joint venture where Toyota is going to be the manufacturer of the S4 series air taxis. So they're working through the government approval and all that, and then they're looking to do the eVTOLs under a eVTOL Toyota chassis. So who knows? But Toyota, there was some technology that was already being used and some engineering that they were working together on at some point anyway. So this evolution in this process seems to make sense. And right now, Joby's standing out way ahead of everybody else. The America 250 thing, and that they had the Great American, it wasn't the World's Fair, but anyway, that thing that's going on, Joby's really showcasing a lot out there. So Archer's got to catch up, or they're going to start getting they're going to really run behind with where Joby's starting to go ahead with all this. Archer got out early in the beginning, being there for the Olympics in 2028, but now Joby's just running way ahead of them with everything else. So, but it's actually pretty good because I saw another article about Toyota today that their sales are going down and down and down, and a lot of the belief is because they've got too many vehicles they have too many vehicles to offer now. I think they just had some bad, some vehicles that just aren't popular anymore, and they're making a lot of manufacturer mistakes. So hopefully this doesn't happen with Joby, but you're starting to see a lot more recalls from Toyota than you used to see in the past. So this be a good opportunity for Toyota to reevaluate some of their old ways of thinking and maybe re-engineer that thought process and then take it back over to the auto manufacturers and see what they can do with it at that point. So anyway, guys, that is absolutely it. Thanks for tuning in with all the craziness that we did. Hope you enjoyed that and hope you got something out of it. But again, this is why you need to have a dash cam, guys, not so you can get views and talk about it on something like this. But when you have an incident like this, then you got to have these to cover your butt and and be able to document everything that was going on, because this lady, before I got on with 911, could have said a whole lot of nasty things. And, frankly, all I did was say, hey, that one's going to have a car seat. You got a car seat for him? And I said, I'm sorry, can't do it. That didn't matter to her. She was going to be a volatile little, whatever choice word you want to call her. And she wasn't having it. And so, guys, got to be safe out there. Make good decisions, not decisions like that were discussed in the chat too much. But let's go to the chat one last time, because I see Bubba Sue saying it's a dream. Shawn, no George Jetson. Yep, and it's coming. Let's see here. Eeptol is very real. Oh wait, no, it's not. Now we'll see, Steve. We're going to see if I can get. I'm going to get a ride, and then we're going to go pick you up in Denver, and then we'll take you out over Cherry Creek Reservoir and toss you out of there. Wonder if they'd be willing to do that. Anyway, guys, it's been wonderful. I appreciate y'all sticking in there, hanging in there with me. We are done with episode number 22. I will see you Thursday with Steve, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we get Rideshare Rodeo and Rideshare Zone come together, and we'll talk about other gig work. And we will see you 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Good night, y'all.